Hello, and welcome to Dolphin's Dive, the weekly strategically minded Handelabra stream hosted by Logic Dolphin. Handelabra believes in civil rights for everyone and in being as inclusive as possible, so any comments or activity actively working against those goals are not welcome and will not be tolerated. You can follow us at Handelabra Games on Twitch, Blue Sky, and YouTube, and you can follow me personally at Logic Dolphin on Twitch, Discord, and pretty much any avenue. Wow, I don't remember this intro anymore. Handelabra products include Sentinels of the Multiverse, Sentinels of Earth Prime, Bottom of the Ninth, One Deck Dungeon, One Deck Galaxy, Aeon's End, and Spirit Island, which are all available on Steam, mobile, Steam, iOS, and Android. What do I say here? I don't even know. Find more information on those games at handelabra.com. I should pull up the intro text. I had it so good last week. And then I think I remembered something that I had to switch up, and it threw me off. Anyway, hello and welcome. I am here to play Spirit Island and butcher the intro. Alright, so let's get started. New game. Let's try 3 spirits this time. Any complexity. Am I allowed to do Scotland? I've been told everything is fair game. I haven't done a supporting adversary yet. I said everything is fair game, but actually there is one thing that is not fair game. Something that remains unseen, so we shall not see it. Okay. I do, however, want to play with the aspects. This one. I'm just selecting those two at the very least. What's the other one that's base? Maybe I should just sort by complexity. That would help a lot. Oh, I guess it's those two. Wait, I thought there was... Oh no, it is 4 spirits. Right, never mind. I think there's 5 aspects with 4 spirits. I literally just looked it up. Let's do Earth. It's immense lightning. No, sorry, it's shadows. Just we're playing shadows. This is amorphous or foreboding. Amorphous. Foreboding. Ooh. I like the sounds. Ugh. And then I may or may not be referencing a list here. River is travel. And then Earth is might. Okay. Very green, yes. Yeah, I guess this is placeholder art. I know there's just discussion in the channel about the art. You can tell this is very placeholder. And then Scotland, Should I do it from difficulty 0 up or something like that? No, let's at least do 1, maybe 2, I don't know. I'll stick with 1. I kind of like to work up the difficulties. It's like Ascensions in Slay the Spire. You don't want to just start at Ascension 20, you want to build up to it. Unless you've played the game before and you're playing a modded character, in which case you start on Ascension 20, because why would you? Alright, so Scotland. Additional Lost Condition Trade Hub. If the number of coastal lands with cities is ever greater than 2 times the number of boards, the invaders win. And ports sprawl outward. On the single board with the most coastal buildings, add a town to the end lands with the fewest towns, n equals number of players. And Scotland 1 introduces Trading Port. After setup in coastal lands, Explore cards adds towns instead of explorers. Coastal land invader cards do this for maximum 2 lands per board. Well, that makes it harder to avoid coastal cities. If the number of coastal lands with cities is ever greater than 2 times the number of boards. So we're doing 3 players, so that's 6 that we can only ever have coastal cities in. 7 makes us lose. It's a greater than, not at least. And the escalation is on the single board with the most coastal buildings. Add towns to the inlands with the fewest towns. 1 town, that is. I gotta be precise with my language, otherwise someone's gonna yell at me. Okay, we'll do that. And then amorphous shadows replaces the base rule with shadows partake of amorphous space. During each slow phase, you may move one of your presence to an adjacent land or to a land with Dahan anywhere on the island. Do the same on the slow phase. So instead of spending an energy to target a land with Dahan any number of times, you can instead, one time, move your presence in a slow phase, and then one time in the slow phase. Fast phase, slow phase. Words. Yes. Otherwise, this is the same. And then river searches and sunlight with travel. Changes the base rule where presence in wetlands sacred sites. We are now travel on the river's back after growth. Choose up to 2 Dahan among your lands. Move each of them to any land contiguously connected by your presence. People tend to the river, river tends to people. Your lands with 4 or more Dahan are considered sacred sites and have defend 1. Choose up to 2 Dahan among your lands after growth. Okay. Makes things like massive flooding harder to use. Well, maybe not harder per se, but instead of just going pure wetlands, I now have to be pure Dahan. I have a perfectly good thunder speaker at home. And then vital strength of the earth with might. No more innate rule. Instead, we have earth moves with vigor and might, targeting yourself. 1 plant. You may play an additional power card by paying 1 energy plus its cost. Its elements apply for the rest of this innate's powers thresholds. With 1 sun, 2 earth, you do +1 damage with each damage dealing power used this turn. 3 earth, 2 plant, same thing. 1 sun, 3 plants, gain a power card. Elements are all over the place there. I mean, same elements as Gift of Strength, just the numbers. Earth focused for plus damage dealing. Very little sun, but plant focused for gain power card and play power card. You may play an additional card by paying 1 energy plus its cost. Is this an incentive to go up energy track? I mean, all these cards have plant? No. But it is a means of playing more than 1 card on turn 1. Although all these cards are expensive. They are expensive, which is the #1 issue with Earth. However, we no longer have Defend 3 in our lands. Defend 3 in our Sacred Site lands, that is. That's the issue. That's the issue. Okay. Okay. And we have the counter for cities, or coastal cities. Good. Coastal lands with cities. Someone's gonna yell at me if I don't say exactly what it means.
What do you mean cities?
Sorry, I mean coastal cities.
What do you mean coastal cities?
Sorry, I mean coastal lands with cities. Okay. Okay. What do you mean they didn't put a town in the coastal land? Well, it's because it's after setup. Duh. Okay. Build, 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 and build. By the way, a little behind the scenes right now, but I actually just got a new monitor, like literally 2 hours ago. And it's a 4K 240 hertz monitor. So those icons I just put down went down super fast. You can actually, can you see the FPS or did I disable that? Oh, I disabled that. You can't see it. But it does say 240 FPS now. So you can click on Scotland. If there are more than 6 coastal lands with cities, the invaders win. On the single board, A/F/G. Add a town to the 3 lands with the fewest towns. Okay. It does work. You mean I don't have to do math anymore? I mean, I do know that 3 divided by 6 is 0.5. What that has to do with Scotland's loss condition, I don't know. Actually, it means we're 50% of the way to losing, sort of. Okay. Yes. Well, Shadows can stop one of these builds with Darkness Swallows. River can stop one of the Ravages with Wash Away. Could theoretically stop one of the builds with Flash Floods, but why would you play Flash Floods on turn 1? And then Earth can put a Sacred Site in F1 to provide Defend 3, which will deal with that Ravage. Wait a minute, I can't do that anymore. Any news on Feather and Flame release date? Not today. It's not coming out today. That's the update. Not today. Also, I can't speak. But John is here, and John can tell you exactly that it's not announced yet. We have not made an announcement. Also, we don't know if it's before the heat death of the universe yet. When it's ready. That is John's very professional way of saying shut up. Shut up. Shut up about the sun. Shut up about the sun. Okay, I can gain 2 energy. What does that do for me? I can play an additional power card by paying 1 energy plus its cost. So I can actually do draw and rituals on turn 1. I can also deal +1 damage with each damage dealing power, although once I have 3 Dahan in a land, I don't need the +1 damage for F1, but I might be able to gather something into F1. Does it trigger Gift of Strength if I were to play these 2 cards? It does. So I can repeat draw or someone else's power. Wait, why is this not a Sacred Site over here? Hello, this is River. Why is not a Sacred Site anymore? Oh, right. I am being facetious, by the way, in case it's not clear. Okay, so that's kind of interesting, though. I mean, after growth, I can gather 2 Dahan. No, not even gather. It's not gather. It's choose 2 Dahan among my lands and move them to my lands contiguously connected by my presence. So, is the incentive then that I have to get as many presences in as many lands as possible? And by as many, I mean 1 presence in as many lands as possible. Because I can just put 4 Dahan in one of those lands and turn it into a Sacred Site. However, there's only like 18 Dahan on the board at any one time, unless you spam River's Bounty. I don't know why I'm spending like 1,000,000 years on this turn. It's because I haven't played a 3-spirit solo game in forever, so it's like a lot of information I have to process now. The incentive is to share lands with Finder and do whatever you want. Spoilers! I haven't played with Finder yet, nor has the chat ever seen Finder at any point ever in their lives, because they only ever play Spirit Island digitally. Cough, cough. Alright, so if I want this, I need a fire. So either Mantle of Dread or Crops Wither. And then 2 moons, which is any of these cards. The main issue with Shadows is energy, but I can just click this button to gain 3 energy. And I think we're going to go 2 card plays for sure. So this makes sense to me that I'm doing this. This is presence at range 3. However, during each slow phase and each I'm saying this backwards. During each fast phase and each slow phase, I may move one of my presence to an adjacent land or to a land with Dahan anywhere on the island, which means that really range is a suggestion. I mean, obviously things that say range 0, I have to specifically plan for. So maybe I just get 4 Dahan into F8 this turn. This is gather, right? Yes. And then I throw in a Concealing Shadows. And then during that turn's fast phase, I move my presence somewhere else.
Why don't we take Shadows' presence and move it somewhere else?
Thank you, Patrick. So I could just do that. I could put my presence there this turn, and next turn move it. I mean, I also could do it in the fast phase or slow phase this turn, but for that to work, I need to gather. Nope. I need to gather 4 Dahan and then play one of these 2 powers. Mantle Dread, obviously nice for dealing with a build that's coming up. I mean, moving things out of G5 would make sense because it's blighted. I mean, obviously I don't need to deal with every single individual Ravages, but the ones that are blighted or the ones that have Dahan are the most important, so that makes sense to me. Also want to, you know, think about coastal cities, but of course none of these are coastal cities. But I can replace a coastal city with a town. I could do that. And then that's cool. Let's do Mental Dread though, because Sphere is nice. And that makes sense to me. River, I kind of fail to see why I would not do the quote-unquote meta, even though I don't really like meta gameplay. I don't see how I'd just go up to Reclaim 1 on turn 2 and spam Massive Flooding for the rest of my life. I think I want to put a presence in G5 because of Mantilla Dread. I think that's probably the best target for that one. And I would theoretically need a Sacred Site to do Massive Flooding, but I can move my presence contiguously. No, not that way. I can move Dahan among lands with my presence contiguously, making a Sacred Site that way. Or I could just make a Sacred Site. Or I could be in more lands with Dahan. So what's my plan? I'm dealing with that in some way. I think I'm dealing with that in some way. I'm dealing with that in some way. I'm probably going to gather that guy out. So when I say some way, that's kind of vague. Professional streamer me. But G5 is going to be Mantle of Dread. I still wish I could just like click this card or move this card to this land or something as a reminder, but I will just accept the check marks. G1 is, or sorry, F1. F1 is going to be dealt with probably with Rituals of Destruction. Maybe also Withdrawal of the Fruitful Earth. F8 is going to be dealt with Concealing Shadows next turn. We'll get Dahan in there this turn. A4 is going to be gathered out with Darkness Swallows. That's where I'm at so far. So we have not considered Massive Flooding for anything yet. We have not considered Wash Away for anything yet. There's also probably Flash Floods next turn I can use to kill the town in G3. Defend 1 is so low. Defend 1. What can I use Defend 1 on? I mean, obviously that's not the primary purpose of that innate rule, but I'm just debating, do I put my presence in a land with Dahan so I can move them around, or... Because like Massive Flooding G3, I don't really need Dahan in there, so I can put my presence in there, gather Dahan from G7 into G4, and then... Actually, that would already make 4 in there, but... Maybe I just scoop up G3s to Han at some point, just like... And then I have this button here. What's that button? Okay, so I play a 0 energy card, probably reverse bounty. Probably wash away. Okay. And then this is energy because you need that. And if I'm playing these 2 cards this turn, which is so interesting. Am I doing that? I mean, I feel like draw plus rituals is cool. This presence at range 1. I should probably avoid putting sacred sites down unless I'm gaining a power card. Unless I need a target for rituals or guard the healing land. I think I'm just going to put this presence... I'm going to take off energy track because I'm just going to assume I'm going to always be activating earth moves. I'm just going to assume that's my meta. I'm going to go in... This is range 1 again. I'm going to go in F4 because it's more visibility to more lands, maybe. Oh, right. Oh, right. I have to activate that at the fast pace. Okay. Okay, move to Han. Yay or nay? Let's go ahead and move that guy there. It's not a sacred site, but it's there. Actually, hold on. I can't even do that. No, not that button. I do actually need to leave this guy here. Because I need to have a sacred site for massive flooding. Target myself, play this. Plus damage. Why not? And it's +1 damage with each damage dealing power, unlike... Rising Heat's unique power that targets a spirit and says they deal +3 damage with one of their powers. I could target this on myself and get a repeat on draw, which can stop potentially 4 frickin' builds. But repeating River's Bounty is also tempting. Get this guy out, so he's done. I think I'm gonna target myself, and he can't stop me. And why is this? Okay. Is it because I could still do that? I don't think it was there. Okay. Mountains. Mm-hmm. Town? Town? What? Okay. Oh yeah, I have wash away, by the way. Guess I could do that in G8 and stop the build, since I was kind of doing... I guess wash away was for G8. Was wash away? The spirit does not have a sacred site from which to use this power. False. I mean, true at the time, but detailed. Okay. Gather. 1, 2, 3, 4. Definitely wanted 4 to Han so that effect triggered. I guess I will draw here. Gather that explorer. It's now a good place for this. And then the second draw is not going to be super helpful for... most of these build. I could combine Massive Flooding and Wash Away. Or no, I can combine Massive Flooding. It's only can push a town or an explorer. I can push a town into G5, and then I can draw the explorer and explorer into G7 or F3. Probably just G7. This can also gather to Dahan, but I don't want to. And that does stop 2 builds then. Nope. I don't have Sacred Site there. I can't do that. Okay. I mean, I could Wash Away in G8 and then Massive Flooding G5. It's okay. This, if I put 4 Dahan in there, which I can't actually do, that would be a Sacred Site, but I can't, so I'm just going to put the town there. That was going to be my Mental Dread target, I guess. Okay, actually in that case, undo that, because I can just Mental Dread this. Flash Floods in G1 stops a city. So I could do Massive Flooding in like G3 to deal with that Ravage. I haven't dealt with A7 yet though. And it's not really trivial to deal with. Since I spent all my efforts instead stopping a build in G8. I could let it blight and lose a Dahan. That seems kind of sad, but sacrifices must be made sometimes. There's also probably a power card coming over here and a power card gaining here that might help, and there is a Year of Perfect Stillness that I could use as a last resort. I guess this is why I had the thing. Right, I have this ability. Okay, that makes sense. This is why I had to click finish using powers, because like, I have the ability to move my presence. How do I want to do that? Probably set up Props Wither and A1 next turn. Damn. Okay, so let's assume we're going to get something for A7 next turn. And let's get this town out of there. So this is something to solve. That is solved. That is solved with a Blight. And then 4 of these builds are solved. We'll deal with that. Probably we'll deal with that. And then eyeball there. We're gonna go up the energy track to play the next card. So let's click this. Looking for Moonfire. Nope. Moon is more important. Although I'm playing Concealing Shadows this turn, so I'm not really gonna play this other card most likely. But Entrancing Apparitions to stop 2 mountain builds? No? Okay. I do like Entrancing Apparitions, though. Sure. You're not gaining a power, you're gaining a power. And Sun. Plant. Sun, Earth. There's no plant cards here, period. Guardian Serpents is a defend. If someone can get a Sacred Site in A7, it's defended. There's definitely at least one spirit capable of doing that this turn. Sky Stretches is good against Scotland, that said. Domesticated Animals is defend 5. But you don't have range. I'm gonna click Guardian Serpents because it stonks. This makes a Sacred Site. Definitely only playing one card this turn. And it's gonna be Guardian Serpents. Okay. And then River is Rivering. I can very easily get a Sacred Site in A7. And then I want to have range to G1. Let's go in G2, which is Danger Land, but that's fine. Move 2 Dahan contiguously among my lands. Now it's a Sacred Site there. Play cards. Reclaim River's Bounty. So I have energy. Uh-huh. And Massive Flooding. We're dealing with G1. There's no mountains next to me, really. But we can definitely make a Sacred Site using River's Bounty somewhere. Then Shadows has to go up Energy Track. Well, could go up Card Place Track, but can't play his hand right now. So we're going to go up Energy Track, and we'll probably be the recipient of Boon of Vigor. Or, yeah, Boon of Vigor. We're going to move this F8 present in the fast phase. After we do Concealing Shadows there. We're going to gather an Explorer, and the only Explorer to gather would be A6, and we can just gather you into A5, I guess. So this presence doesn't super matter for Sacred Site purposes, but if my plan was Crops Wither, that's happening in A1 probably. Don't really know where I want this to go, but most likely not a land with Dahan, as I can just always get there. So maybe just visibility. Let's go in F4. F4 is a party land. Cool. So Guardian Serpents, A7, that's defended. Flash Floods, G1, that's solved. Boon of Vigor on Shadows. Concealing Shadows, F8. Darkness Swallows the A6 guy, and then move my presence out of F8. All the mountains builds are solved except A1. That's interesting. Let's move you into G4. Because I can. Alright. On each board, choose a land with city, build there. On each board, push up to 2 explorers or 1 town from a land with beasts. On each board, gather 1 Dahan into a land with Dahan, and that land defend 1 per Dahan. Choose a land with city, build there. This defend is not gonna help. But building here kills everything still, so yeah, we'll do that. Because I can only get defend 5 at most, but there's not even a neighboring Dahan. Although, actually, land with Dahan. Yeah, so there's no neighboring land with Dahan. So I can't daisy chain it on board A. Choose a land with city. These are forced. 2 explorers or a town from a land with beasts. I can, in fact, just stop this build. And that's it. The other lands with beasts are empty. Yep. Gather 1 Dahan into a land with Dahan, and that land defend 1 per Dahan. Not needed for really anything. This is defended. This land is not defended, but the Dahan aren't dying. All the Dahan in this board are not connected at all, so interesting. All the Dahan on here are not connected at all. All the Dahan here already in River's land, so it doesn't really do that much. It's actually forcibly gather 1 too, so let's just gather this one. And then this is forced actually, so I should have okay. Since it's a back and forth, I guess I should have done it that way. Since it's forcibly gathering. Okay. Okay, well, Ravage is solved. And now we just have to deal with 3 of the wetlands are coastal. Okay. Two damage, push 3 things. I can actually Crops Wither in G2, and that almost solves that. I do have to have a sacred site nearby. So I'll gather that guy. In lieu of having 4 Dahan in each of my lands, having 3 Dahan in most of my lands is probably pretty good, as I can then move 2 Dahan contiguously, forming sacred sites when needed. So having 3 Dahan in A7 is actually pretty good, as next turn I could move a Dahan in there and make that a sacred site. If needed. Is it needed? I don't know. But yeah, I think if I move this guy here, and then Crops Wither the city, and then Massive Flood, kill a town. This will definitely stop the coastal city build, and even get rid of that coastal city too. And then Entrancing Apparitions next turn gathers 2 explorers to stop both of these. That I like that a lot. These 2 are then solved. Unfortunately, I would really like to put something in G1 and have it defended, but that's not going to happen. I could potentially Flash Floods and kill the town next turn, but kind of like to save energy if possible. I mean, I do gain an energy on this turn, so I could hypothetically do that. I mean, I can't really use Flash Floods for any other thing other than maybe F7. But that's a 2 energy card to deal 1 damage, which is annoying. I could also just keep these towns focused in 1 land or something. And then in a usual game, you don't really want... Well, I guess keeping things coastal is... I was gonna say you don't really want towns to be coastal, as then they'll build coastal cities, but that's not actually the relevant point. The relevant point is you don't really want to have towns in the inner land. Or you don't really want cities in the inner land. Keeping things coastal obviously makes it... But if they decide to explore, they're going to put towns down anyway because of the escalation. Or not escalation, because of Rule 1. So... yeah, I guess I'm just gonna leave these coastal. Put 1 in G1 to kill it, I guess? I don't know. I guess I do have to be mindful that Entrancing Apparitions only works if there's no invaders present. But we can target G5 for that. Okay. This is gonna be gain a power card. I have a lot of energy. I would like a Moonfire card. +3 energy is a lot, but I don't really want to play 3 cards or get to 3 card plays when I can't play 3 cards. Even though I could play 3 cards on the reclaim turn, but I don't know. I like having energy. I don't need to do this yet. I should not do that yet. Gain a power card. Make it Moonfire. There's no moon. Okay. Target spirit gathers 1 Dahan into one of their lands, 1 damage in that land per Dahan present. Hi, River. How are you doing? I mean, it's definitely packed. Can use that to kill the buildings in G3, I guess. This is reclaim all, gain a power card, and we would like sun, water. No sun. Lots of water though. And one of these has earth, and it says isolate. Call of the Dawnways is here. I mean, Mesmerized Tranquility is generally pretty good. Isolating a land to stop visibility is always good. Don't need it for this turn, of course, but it is there. And we can gain a power card and get to 3 card plays with a U. Although, even if we activate this, we're not going to be able to play all of my cards because they cost way too much energy. But since it's very hard for Earth to gain power cards, I'm going to collect power card. I'm going to make it minor even though I'm tempted to click major. Just because of how hard it is to get a volume of cards. Plant. All these have plant. Sun. None of these have sun. Earth. These 2 have earth. Okay. If mountain jungle defend 3, if jungle sands defend 4. That's apparently the theme of those cards. There is no mountains ravage outside of G1, which you don't have range 2. It kind of suggests you're not playing this card and something else this turn. You can't even hit your first tier of your usual innate, since you're perfect stillness. Oh no, wait, you can do it with, okay, no, you can do it with guard the healing land. Never mind. No, there's no sun on there. The only way to get the sun is off your perfect stillness. Okay, and then that doesn't have plant on it, so I can't get the 2 plants. Okay, there we go. I guess actually I can't hit the plant on this, but I can hit the sun earth, or, well, that would be great, except I can't actually deal damage with any of these powers, so much for that. Set them on an ever-twisting trail. Since I'm not really getting elements, I can use to gather, push, and explore, and isolate the target land. Just to further isolate things. Using that in G7 is interesting, as I can stop the build in A7 and turn off this land's visibility to all the neighboring lands. All those neighboring lands, however, do kind of have visibility still. G3 sees G4. A5 of that build sees A7 and F7. And F2, F3 see F4. G8 is seen by F3. Yeah, so isolating that doesn't actually do that much. However, we are going to stage 2, which means that it's open season as to whether they're exploring any land or coastal. targeting coastal land would actually be more interesting, as that would prevent them from being explored by 2 of the 5 cards. Although it still sucks for, like, gathering and explorers. We have no range to anything that's building. Inflame is generally pretty good. I can strife cities with that card. So pretty much I've gone through every single one of these cards and said they're good. Okay. I'm gonna click Inflame because I like that card the best of those options. And like do I even want 2 card plays this turn? What if I only do 1 card plays and just spam power gains until I do my first reclaim? Actually, if I only have 1 card play and I keep gaining a power card, I never need to reclaim. What if I just go purely up the energy track and then start gaining majors? What if... Okay. What if I go up the energy track and then in 3 turns I just start gaining majors and just keep forgetting cards and never reclaim? Well, the main issue with that strategy is I will just have super sacred slates, which kind of sucks. But I don't really think I need to play both of my power cards this turn. Or 2 power cards this turn. I mean, that's what I feel like. I mean, F3 is building a city. I can just put... I can strife the city, and that's kind of solved. Sort of. Not really. You've heard of Casino Starlight. Time for Casino Earth. Yeah, I was actually thinking of Starlight when I said that. I don't know how good it is to play only 1 power card for 6 turns, though. I mean, completely ignoring the fact that I won't have elements, but no one cares about Earth's elements anyway. The minor cards do things, so... On the single board with the most coastal buildings, add a town to the 3 lands with the fewest towns. That's going to be board F currently. And I think unless I just block this build, it's... The only other option will be board A. And it's going to add a town to the 3 towns with the few... To the 3 lands with the fewest towns. Add 3 lands to the... Add a land to the 3 towns with the fewest lands. Yes, that's exactly how that escalation works. Alright, so what's happening then? I have nothing for that yet. That exists. That exists. That exists. No, we're stopping that with entrancing. Is there a good place to pact? Not really. I can pact in G3 with the help of Dahan, but that's not really relevant yet. And then, like, Earth has no Dahan in any of their lands for some weird reason. I don't have to strife the city in F3s. I can just defend 4 in their next turn. It doesn't remove a blight, but none of the wetlands are blighted anyway. Perfect stillness? I don't know, F7? I still don't have a valid thing for Inflame this turn. I mean, I could add a disease, but I could also strife something and get a fear, which feels better. I don't know. So like 3 towns on this board isn't really gonna do much, but hey, like we'll have that happen. Let's put Sacred Site here and go off energy track and then have millions of energy next turn, I guess. I could just skip all actions in F7 this turn, and then that doesn't build, and then I don't care about the Ravage next turn, instead of letting it build, and then... Yeah, so we'll just do that, I guess. I don't know. I don't know, man. I just work here. A2 is a threat. Can't really do much about it. I can use Pact to move the Dahan out of there, and then I can Ravage, but it is coastal, so I do have to be careful with it. We're not hitting this threshold this turn, so we're not gathering an Explorer. That land could just blight for all I care. G1 is Ravaging, so I guess River's Flash Floodsing, River's Bountying. Mesmerize Tranquility in A5, actually, next turn, is a pseudo defend. Each invader does -1 damage. So explorers do 0 damage, town deals 1 damage. And then I can put Dahan in there next turn. I mean, I'd have to do it with my Dahan movement, not with a River's Bounty, but that should be solved next turn then. So I play this next turn. Reclaim River's Bounty every turn because that seems correct. Don't think I need Wash Away this turn, so I guess I play Boon of Vigor. I guess if I play Boon of Vigor, I don't get 2 suns next turn. So I guess I'm playing Wash Away. I guess. Figure out where I'm doing that. And then damage something. Just always be damaging. ABD. Feels like a waste to go up energy track, but also feels like a waste going up card place track. Alright, card place track, I guess. And then what do I even want? I don't know what I want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Secret Site. And I can always move my presence into a land with Dahan and then gather Dahan and deal damage. Which would be relevant somewhere, I guess. I don't need a Sacred Site in a fast phase. Let's... do something like that. We could do Pact in G2 to deal with that build. No, they're not building. Never mind. Whatever. Whatever. Because we're entrancing here. This is the problem with 3 spirits, 1 player, is you forget everything you said 5 minutes ago. Flash Flood's there. Perfect Stillness there, so that's checkmarked. We're gonna have a defend there. Would like to have more Dahan there, but I can't get Dahan there right now. River needs to be more like a river. Currently it's a puddle. I need a river. Have I considered 6 high complexity spirits? You know? Have I considered 6 island boards that are all archipelago or something? Or 7 boards with 6 spirits. And then to create an extra board. Hmm. Where do I want this presence to go? I mean... Oh, actually A2's building a city, and that is gonna tie with F. So in actuality, I can decide between board A and board F where I want towns to go. Concealing shadows in A2 doesn't really do that much. I could put a presence there to prep for that. But I feel like that's not going to do much. Pact is not going to do much. I need more Dahan there. I'm just going to move into A2 because that's like where the action is, but it doesn't really seem that nice. Remnants of a Spirit's Heart. Leave its strength with the Dahan. Dahan have plus 10 health this turn. It lands with Dahan. Invaders have plus 1 health. Rude. With patient focus, craft a great warding. Cost 4 energy per player aided by Earth. Defend from spirits is 4 lower per land this turn. During one future spirit phase, players may jointly decide to grant defend 4 to all lands that turn. I mean, we're not defending at all this turn. On the other hand, we even have the ability to fund this. Apparently, yes. We have 2 Earth. Can discard 2 cards. But then... So what sewer to spend 6, so we'd have 500. So we'd have to forget an Earth card. We have to actually forget an Earth card to make that happen. But there's no Mountains Ravage this turn, so like this is certainly the turn to have 4 lower defend this turn. What do we have? For each land with beasts and city, 1 city, sorry, 1 fear, and destroy 1 beasts there. There's none of those. Nope. On each board with 4 more buildings and 4 fewer Dahan, add a blight to a land without Dahan. That is not a thing. So this is literally just the event, is this right here. Dahan have plus 10 health. That does nothing. Plus 10 is such a high number though. That's so funny. It could be plus 50 and it would basically be the same thing. I mean, no, it's not, but it's just funny. I don't think it's worth the investment though. I mean, like, I don't want to forget Earth cards. Yeah, it's just leave with Dahan. Okay. Explore does not affect coastal lands. Okay, okay. 1 in 5 chance. 1 in 5 chance. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. 1 in 5, 1 in 5. Yes! Yes! Oh boy! I am riding a high right now. Easy game. I'm sorry, is Sweden supposed to be hard? Actually, I know that a lot of people love Sweden. I think because it's... I don't know. I don't know why. People just love Sweden. And by people, I mean, I think there's one person in the Discord that says that Sweden is like the best adversary. But one person definitely represents the views of everyone. And by Sweden, I mean Scotland. Hey, at least it had an S in the name. I blame my nominal aphasia for that. So if you make fun of me for that, then I will judge you for the rest of your life. Um. Okay. Well, the annoying thing is that invaders and lands with Dahan have +1 health. So, like, Pact is a bit worse right now. As in, it's very worse. Very bad. But knowing that we have a coastal build coming up obviously makes this rather interesting. So because of that, like, that is stopped. That's building. That's ravaging and potentially defended, but not enough. That is building. I put check marks here. Right, I guess I started there. Okay. So it's only 4 lands, 2 of which are Earth's lands. Still would wish I had more Dahan in F3. That would be a nice thing to have. River could move or set presence in G8 into F3 and then contiguously move Dahan into F3. So I think that's actually fine then. We will have 3 Dahan in there next turn. We will actually start forming that river. My plan was to go into A5 though. No, screw that. That one can blight. It's not doing anything. Yeah, because my presence is range 1, range 1. Unless I do range 2, but then I still can't get into A5 for next turn with my original plan. I mean, that means my Mesmerized Tranquility is also not going to do that much, but... oh well. There are worse things in life. So, like, I was originally going to make a sacred site. I guess actually I can't do a sacred site that way. So I have to do a sacred site either here, here, or here. Doesn't really matter where, I guess. Let's do it in G2. And then I can Massive Flood. Kill the town. Push the town. I guess I could put it in G4 and then Mesmerized Tranquility works. Or even G1. Let's do G4. Actually, we can just do Pact and kill the town that way. Actually, if I'm doing Pact, I might as well do it in G1 and G2, is then I don't actually need to gather any Dahan. Not that that matters, but I do have to gather one. Okay. Okay, in that case, let's do it this way. And then Pact in here. Now we have 3 lands with 3 Dahan. So they're each 1 Dahan away from turning into a sacred site, which I said is kind of the ideal if you can't have 4 in every land. I could push out of A5. Okay, so this is dealt with. Those are done. I don't have range to any other coastal land right now, so Wash Away and A5 is probably the next best bet. Since, like... yeah. So let's just put everything in A8. Since, like... since I guess that's, like... I already had a town in there, so... keep everything centralized as much as you can. Jungles are kind of crappy, but whatever. Can move my presence. Still don't really know where. A2 is gonna need love next turn. Or not next turn, but like... I mean, my plan was Concealing Shadows A2 to save the Dahan. But they're building there. So what can I do? What can I do? Absolutely nothing. I'll have to find a way to deal with that blight, I guess, off of a power card. I can't stop the blight, and it's certainly not enough to defend, so... My presence movement, I guess, is gonna be with the G2 guy, as he's currently in an irrelevant land. Not that any other land's that relevant, but G5 might be a better place for you. I don't know. When in doubt, be in lands with invaders. This is Reclaim. And I want Moonfire, except apparently I can't. Screw you. Screw you. I can take a Moon card. I can add a Strife. I can target spirit repeats lowest cost power card by paying its cost again, and I may do likewise. So I can Concealing Shadows twice. Which does nothing. Okay. You're not gaining a power card as you don't really want Super Sacred Sight, and you're probably not gaining a power card. Let's do the plan we said we're gonna do, and let's get the energy. Hello, energy. And then always be bountying. And now we have 4 card plays next turn. You... Wait, what? Oh. Okay, there you are. Yeah, 2 card plays. Range 1 presence. And I can Strife F2, which means that's kind of solved. Pending the event or explore. Let's try to get closer to board A, I guess, as that seems like the danger spot right now. I can play an additional power card that I don't have, and I don't even have this. But that's defended. I have Mesmerize Tranquility that I'm playing for elements, apparently. I can isolate a land. But only a land that I'm in. Dahan need to move... like that. Pretty much River needs to get into A2 somehow. But that's not happening. I mean, Twilight Fog, right? That's Strife. Strife's always good. This. Maybe not that, though. Maybe I want this. No, it doesn't do anything this turn, because there's no build I can stop with it. So let's just not do that. Let's just play. If I don't care about this, let's play the cards that are bad for those elements, which is pretty much. I guess I do play that after all. Okay. Keep the Moonfire cards. Play that one. Whatever. Boon of Vigor on Shadows. I guess I gain a major next turn and hope that it's something that solves A2. Dahan, take no damage. And move my presence nearby. I'll go in A4. Guard Healing Land. You don't have any power cards in hand. Alright, so we did get the coastal card, so every land is equally likely. Isolating F3 doesn't stop visibility to the inner lands at all. It does, however, make sure that if they do extra damage for whatever reason, they don't blight that land. Which, I guess A5 and F7 would be screwed in that regard. I don't know where Isolate would make the most sense otherwise. Maybe G7, but I'm not in G7. It's only in the lands I'm in. So yeah, let's do that to be safe. All right. Invaders. Explore actions, add explorers to lands without buildings. On each board, add beasts to a land without buildings or blight. Gather 1 or 2 Dahan into a land without Dahan setup symbols. Okay. So this will potentially help with getting Dahan closer to A2, for sure. If I can pact an A2, that could be nice. Beasts in a land without buildings or blight. Coastal. Always be coastal. All right. I don't know that I can really reasonably keep that Dahan in A2. Obviously, Twilight Fog pushes the Dahan out. I could pack to bring it back in. I mean, at that point, if I can't even have Dahan in the land and I can strafe a city, but that doesn't do anything, maybe I just don't bother. Maybe it's just not worth it. Maybe A2 is just lost. For now. Dahan into A5 to kill that explorer makes sense to me. This is kind of meaningless. Let's do it here for fun, I guess. Do I need this to be a sacred site in case they explore? No. Yes? No? Maybe I do care about that. Like, I need to be able to reverse bounty in G2, for instance. Although, I can still gather 2. Yeah, I can do like this, and that's fine. Okay. I need to leave the Dahan in there as much as I can, but I can deal with that. Okay. Okay. Coastal build. And they're going wetlands again. And there's more cities in Borde, so they're forcibly going Borde. Okay. And the escalation on the single board A. Oh, I see why that said that. Okay, so it's actually telling you the single board. Okay. With the most coastal buildings, add a town to the 3 lands of the fewest towns. So not coastal as they're ravaging there. Not wetlands as they're exploring there. Coastal. Extra explorer. Extra explorer. Which all of these are extra explorers. Okay. At least they didn't explore F3. That's nice. Coastal lands ravage. A2 is just such a bad land. We really need that sacred site to do something there. Can move my presence into A5 and Pact so they don't build there. Getting Dahan in F2 would also be nice. I need 2 Dahan in there. I can do a really weird thing though. I could Twilight Fog in F3 just to push a Dahan. Put my presence in F2 with this. Pact in F2 to gather another Dahan, which serves very little purpose as it won't kill the city, except it does put 2 Dahan in F2 for the Ravage. I think that is a lot of effort when I could just put... Oh, but River's not growing next turn. Okay. I would say I put River Presence there and then move Dahan there, but that won't work. Okay, so... Those are the Ravages. Those are the builds. And obviously A2 is a super problem that we're hoping to solve with a major power, but that's unlikely. This land can blade because it's not doing anything next turn, so I don't really need to get the Han in there just to kill a city. Like, I mean, it's fun, but it's not helpful. Be nice if I could reach A2 with this, but I can't. Wash away, or sorry, massive flooding in G2 makes the most sense to me, as that stops. Well, I guess I could. There's other options there. I could do Twilight Fog in G2, and then. Well, I could River's Bounty there first, and then kill the guys in G4 with massive flooding. Then I can do not Inflame. I can do Twilight Fog in G2. Pushes the Dahan, but strifes the town, and then there's enough Dahan and defend for that Ravage to be solved. So that solves both G4 build and G2 Ravage. And then Pact can go in either A5 or F7 by moving Shadows' presence in one of those 2 lands. Still not a really good candidate for Inflame. Could use Inflame for Disease instead, which is not super helpful when those lands have 2 Explorers in them. We do still have Entrancing Apparitions, but it only gathers 2 Explorers, so it only stops one of the builds. Do you think I like... I mean... I kind of like some of these options. Maybe I should just gather all from G1 because it's not my land. Let's put more Dahan in my lands, as I can move them contiguously in my lands. 2 damage. Twilight Fog. Okay. So that's now solved. A2 still is sad. Presents. I'll put it in here. And then packed here. Forceful Dahan gather. I'm just gonna disease this one. Although we could still gather 2 explorers to stop that. Or just defend 2 next turn. The important thing is finding a major power that's helpful here. Sea monsters? Irresistible call. This doesn't move cities though. None of these have fire, by the way. Shadows flicker like a dead flame that went out because, yeah. Sea monsters, though. Sea monsters? There will be extra blight in there. Island's not blighting. We could cascade. It's not ideal. Where's the extra? Oh. Oh yeah, F2. We said we're gonna let blight. Rivers also reclaiming. 7 energy is a lot of energy. I only have 5 power cards. It's unlikely I will find a power card that has range 3 that helps. I'm just gonna click minor, and then next one will be a major, I swear. Again, we have an issue with sun. We do have another water, earth. The shore seethes with hatred. Actually, we can just... Okay, we can perfect stillness A2. And it doesn't cascade. That's an option. It doesn't solve it for next turn, but at least it doesn't ravage and build, which means we get 2 uses out of skip all actions. Is there any way I can repeat this power? No. Any of these that I can possibly hit? Yeah, we can hit the 3 plants down the road. Shadows is the perfect plant spirit after all. That's why Jungle Hungers is in the power progression deck. Melt earth into quicksand after invaders or Dahan are moved into target land, destroy them. That doesn't mean add, so I can't, like, let them build a city and then destroy them that way. Irresistible call. Gather 5 towns, 5 Dahan, 5 beasts, and 15 explorers. It's not even up to. It's literally all of them. It's irresistible. Literally all of them. Feels like it'd be nice if I can combo it with, like, massive flooding. I mean, it's a way of solving the F7 build, but I'm not really worried about that. If I could take both Irresistible Call and Melt Earth, that would be kind of cute, as I could gather 5 towns, 5 Dahan, 15 explorers, and they all are immediately destroyed. However, I can't do both. Sea Monsters hits coastal or wetlands. You know, that's helpful, right? That's helpful. I'm just gonna click Sea Monsters and you can't stop me. And I'm going to take out Pact, as it's literally none of my elements. I mean, neither is this, but I don't know. I just work here. Question is, do I let A2 Blight? If I let it Blight, they're still gonna add a city. An extra Blight is 3 damage, but the city is negating that, and then I don't know. I'll just grow it there, because why not? Sea Monsters. I don't really need to gather this turn. The only build is F7, which is diseased. We're probably just gonna defend 2 next turn. Or we do this to gather the 2 explorers somewhere else, but it also seems meaningless. Just take Mantle of Dread. Maybe we'll be able to solve A2 with a combination of things. Maybe. Convert city. Push things. Sea monsters. If I'm sea monstering, then I probably should also give, like, Guardian Serpents for another beasts, because that's 2 fear. Oh, and it's 3 damage per beast, not 3 damage per blight. Yeah, so that's definitely a net positive. Range 2? Range 2. I'm gonna grow an A2, because always be in lands with things. Skip actions there, Guardian Serpents. If I play a plant card, I can also play Guardian Serpents. That one? I'm not gonna hit this. I have +1 damage with damage dealing powers that I don't have. This power has so far been kind of lackluster. And then we still have this. Just Shore Seas. Always play River's Bounty. And I don't think really the rest of the super matters. Flash Floods doesn't do anything. I mean, the stops. Yeah, I mean, it stops an explorer down the road. I guess Boon of Vigor. I play 1 more card. This activates massive flooding, which is probably also irrelevant, but only major issue is that I don't really have a very good candidate for massive flooding. Maybe I combine Mantle of Dread with things. I don't know, we'll figure it out. We do have this to gather and explore, which is kind of irrelevant. Boon of Vigor here, yes. Perfect Stillness here, yes. Flash Floods for elements. I don't know, maybe I just do it here and then I don't worry about dealing with that next turn. Or I even preserve the disease, which is irrelevant because they're not doing wetlands next turn or the turn after that. Can play an additional card. Play Guardian Serpents. Guardian Serpents here. There's no reason to defend for that because we're skipping all actions in there. I don't know. Let's just preserve the disease, man. There's like... I guess like if I want to massive flooding something, it might just be wherever they explore. It's either sands, jungle, or mountain. Mountains are pretty empty. Jungles are pretty sad. I'd like to kind of gather into A8, but I can't. I can move my presence to get a sacred site. I can't do that. That way, I was gonna. Right, I saw this and then I. Yeah. Okay. So the net. Actually. No, I guess I clicked that. Okay. Let's move this guy as I can get into A5 more easily than others. Gather this explorer. Okay. Hardworking settlers. The latest round of settlers are regrettably diligent, focused, and curious. You may act cautiously in the background or create unnerving distractions at the cost of piquing their interest. Push 2 to Han. Add town to a land without town. Immediately ravage a land with the most invaders. That matches a ravage card. This turn, beasts also count as badlands. Oh. Sea monsters. Immediately ravaging. G2 is fine. F2 is gonna cascade. A2 skipped. So it's really just F2 is gonna be the major issue. Kinda wish I strifed that city now, as I could have pushed 2 to Han into there and Strife City would just die. Also would have to add a town to a land without a town. Which is on each board too. I guess I could hit A5 with that, but then that's gonna build a city. But I mean, like, or I put it in A1 or A3 and that plates as well. But I mean, we do have one fear card at level 1. Our fear game is so bad, which is kind of interesting as we do have shadows, but whatever. You do get 1 fear per player if we create unnerving distractions. No real reason to skip ravages. And removing stage 2 and stage 3 means we have fewer turns in this game, and it does feel like this is a long game, so I do think we have to act cautiously. So push 2 to Han. Let's get the Han closer to A2. This one doesn't really matter as they're all river lands. Just leave them where they are. Pushing an F2 would be nice if I can guarantee that land's defended or that city's strifed, but I feel like it's unlikely. I feel like the fear card's gonna say you may gather and explore a town into an inner land. That's my theory. So I think I skip here too. Town on this board has to go in A3, A1, or A5. This is Blight, and this is City. Since I'm trying to basically deal with A2 for next round, I think I'm just gonna accept a coastal blight. Let's put in A3. On this board, not coastal, not wetlands. Let's put it in G5. Not coastal. I guess F2 wouldn't really... I'll just leave an F2 because it's centered around everything. And then Ravage. Ravage. And then Blight. Beasts count as Badlands. Lands with presence have Defend 2. Yeah, that wasn't the one that we wanted. But it also wouldn't have... Yeah, okay. And then a Cascade. Cascade there. One Blight left on the card. They're going mountains. Illusion of choice. Okay. Oh, hello, Blight. Hi, new here. I'm Logic. Uh-huh. Well, sea monsters? Is there any reason to not sea monsters there right away? Add beasts, 2 fear per beast, that's 4 fear, 3 damage per beasts. There will be 2 beasts, they count as badlands, so it's 8 damage. And 1 damage per blade, so it's 9 damage. 3, 6, 8. There will be a damaged town we can convert into an explorer and it dies right away. Mantle of Dread would just solve it outright. Okay. Think that's what we do? None of these would benefit this board at all. Okay. And then get the heck out of Dodge. Okay. Well, yay. We solved that land at last. We did it. Uh-huh. Now what? Wetlands Ravage. We have building in here now. Mountains builds. So draw the Fruitful Earth. Honestly, don't even remember playing it. That's how long ago it was. But honestly, I don't even know why I played it. I don't even remember what happened 5 minutes ago. But that stops both F8 or G8 and F4. Is there any better place to do that, bearing in mind that Earth is kind of in bad places? I mean, the other mountains have towns in them. And the only wetland that's ravaging is A5 right now, which is okay. Question then is, where am I massive flooding? For those of you just tuning in, by the way, we're playing with Amorphous Shadows, we're playing with Travel River, and we're playing with Might, Vital Strength of the Earth. And of these, the only one that's really been special is Travel, as I can make sacred sites and lands with 4 more Dahan, and can move Dahan among my lands contiguously. Shadows has been existent. I've been moving my presence a lot. Feels like it's not really been doing that much, but I have been. And Earth's Might is Earth moves with Vigor and Might, which has done, like, nothing at all. except for like turn 1. And I don't have defend 3 anymore in my lands, which is kind of annoying. Okay. I mean, I can reclaim Flash Floods to kill G1 next turn, but I kind of don't want to because I can just spam River's Bounty. I can gain a major power next turn with all the energy that I have. Feels like major power turn. It's either Jungle or Sands next. Shore Seas with Hatred and G3 for the Wilds is okay. Just can only go Coastal. We could put the Badlands in a land with a city, like F2, which is the only land I can even hit in that regard. And then set up Dahan in F3 with River's Bounty, and then Massive Flooding kills everything in F2, which is cool, except that land's pretty irrelevant. But I can. That is something I can do. Yes, sirree, Bob. Don't really see why I won't do this. I could gather into F3. But that seems like an annoying issue to have to deal with next turn when they're ravaging. Why do that when I can just have Explorers die a different way? Dahan out of here, I guess. I don't know. Do I even want that? I don't think I do. Dahan don't need to be in there. It's really just a question of where am I massive flooding? Massive flooding G1 also seems like a massive waste. Massive waste of massive flooding! Ah! I mean, I did say that like it was kind of a waste, but it's probably the best use of massive flooding this turn is... Yeah? So Sacred Site there, Badlands. Jungle is possibly explored, so that Wilds also is helpful. So that is the most benefit I do get out of that Wilds. Okay. So all that's left are these builds. This Ravage. We can just defend 2 there, though, so that's solved. We're not really gonna have a great innate. We're definitely taking a power card. It's gonna be sucky. Sea Monsters is my major right now. I don't really need a major for next turn, I feel like. I mean, A1 and A6 are sucky, but... we can Favors Call due in A1, and then the next turn is going to be a reclaim turn, so we can Concealing Shadows in there. So that is a means of dealing with that. Not ideal, but it will be mostly solved. A6 can Blight, no one cares. G1... it is going to be a coastal city, but we're at 0 out of 6 for the defeat conditions, so I think we're doing fine. This is going to be a power card, right? I think we said we wanted it major. Let's take major. Uh-huh. We could blight the island by taking Insatiable Hunger. Unrelenting Growth has better elements. Although we won't hit the threshold on it. Also adds a lot of presence. Which... I guess that goes on River. Also adds the Sacred Site. I can dig it. Get rid of Shore Seas. Maybe? I don't know. guess I go up to 5 card plays, even though I'm not playing 5 cards this turn, but I will starting next turn. Or I can just get there with, I don't know. This doesn't matter either, though. In any case, even though I do have range 2, I want to keep my presence contiguous. So let's set up for G1, as that is a Ravage. And take Reverse Bounty. Massive Flooding won't kill the city in G1, but it's probably okay. We have this. Does that matter? I could have grown into A5 and just had that town deal 1 less damage. No, doesn't matter. Could have taken Flash Floods, but then I'd be very energy poor next turn. Okay. Let's take a major now on Earth. We can do that. Uh-huh. 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 Psych stack? Not very helpful. Sweep into the sea? That would have been better on river a second ago. Honestly, would have been really nice on river a second ago. Also, elements are crap again. We can only get a sun or an earth, and this has none of the things. Okay. Man, the elements are crap this game. Tsunami's not even that good. There's not anything happening at coastal. This would be great for Scotland. Except for winning too hard, apparently. For each blight in or adjacent to target land, add a Badlands, a disease, or a strife, max +3 of each, then 2 fear, 1 damage. Would be really nice on this board. Is actually decent on this board. Maybe I just take this. Range 1 Sacred Site. We can hit a 1 with that. We can actually hit the threshold on this too. And we are getting 3 card plays this turn. Except we don't have enough energy to play the cards I wanted to play. Sucks. I guess I can kind of do it with my innate, despite saying how bad that innate's been. Let's forget Perfect Stillness because it's expensive. And then actually use my innate for the first time in this game, sort of. I'm also not getting +1 damage. Okay. Heh. LOL. Okay. And then you... I mean, you do have energy. Let's just gain a minor. Let's just gain a minor. Do not build in target land this turn. They don't have Dahan. Let's target this one. Give Earth elements. Maybe we'll be able to do something meaningful with it. Why not? Why not? I'm almost at the point where I'm just clicking on cards, even though we're still on tier level. Oh, we're on tier level 2 now. Okay, well. I'm not really worried. Don't really need energy this turn. Grow in there. Play my cards. Move to Han. Wetlands Ravage. Mountains build. Let's move these. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. Resolve this, I guess. Undo that. I meant to do that. Okay. Spend there. Elements on you. Gain 2 earths. I targeted another spirit, so I gain an element of my choice. So I guess I do get to gather and explore for whatever good that does me. The reason I wanted that was because then I can target myself, play this, and I get +2 damage with each damage dealing power I have. And I get the threshold on this. You can also repeat a power card with energy cost of 1 or less on any spirit. Which means I can repeat Gift of Nature's Connection. Which means we can give River Massive Flooding. Why? I don't know. Two of one element on myself is not helpful. 2 energy is also not that helpful. Three plants? No. Unfortunately, our elements are kind of crap for getting that. But otherwise, 3 suns would be most helpful. I'm sure getting Massive Flooding to top tier is slightly better, even if there's not necessarily a good place for it. But what 1 energy cost card can I do? That would be nice. I guess I can hit 3 animals and do both things on this, but eh. Repeat this. Elements. That was not the spirit. This. Elements. Sun. Fire. Maybe the event card likes fire. Isolate and -1 damage. I think if the land's isolated, event cards won't move things into that land. I think. Or do I have that choice? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's an invader action, so it technically does something. I don't know. Next explore is either sands or jungle. I don't think the isolate's really going to do anything. I'm just going to throw it here. Why not? Can't stop me. Gather 1 explore. This does nothing still. I will not do that. I will... Whatever, I'll do that. And then I can move my presence again, and... Fever's Cold Dew, I'm already in good places for that. Let's combine presences and make a sacred site here. Okay. On each board, add an explorer to a land with blight. On each board, push up to 2 explorers or 1 town from a land with beasts. In each land with buildings, 1 damage per Dahan. Then each surviving building deals 1 damage to Dahan. In each land with buildings. Okay, that stops the G1 build. We did it. Add an explorer to a land with blight. I mean, that guy just dies, right? That was forced. That one. No, not that one, because there's wilds there. Push up to 2 explorers to town from a land with beasts. One damage per dawn. You know, A4 is actually bad now. Or no, it's not. All right, no, it's not blighting, right? It's literally just they damage the Han. 1 damage per Dahan. So A4 is 2 damage, kills the town. The surviving town deals 1 damage, but that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Okay. So we want G1 to go off. A2's guy wants to go off. A1 can't go into A2 as it will blight. Can't go into A4 as the remaining towns will kill a Dahan. Almost could go into A5 as that is defended. But that Dahan doesn't kill buildings. Going into A6 serves no purpose. How about pushing the guy out of A3? I guess I can go into F8 and then it dies. Okay. G1 wants to stay. G6, there's nothing in there, so that's not doing anything. This push doesn't do anything. Oh, there was a Dahan in there? Huh. Tragic. 2 fear cards. In each land with tokens or adjacent to 3 such tokens, defend 5. Okay. Each player adds strife in a different land with at least 2 invaders. Then each invader takes 1 damage per strife it has. Uh-huh. I mean, strifing this town kills it. Strife that town as it's relevant, and that town, I can't even hit it. I guess I strife this town? Mountains build. Jungle explore, and board A still has the most coastal cities. Or cities, period. Most coastal cities. Not even coastal cities. Why haven't I've been reading this wrong? Most coastal buildings. Wow, I suck at this game. No one's corrected me all game, by the way. Add town to the 3 lands with the fewest towns. So illusion of choice? Yes. Okay. All of a sudden, these jungles are relevant. I'm just gonna hit myself with Unrelenting Growth, I think. Massive Flooding does have Threshold. We can use that to deal with something. A1 is just going to be Favors Called Due. And then we're going to Concealing Shadows that. So we'll Blight, and yes, that does put us in a bad position, but that's fine. I guess actually no, we did have another possibility, but hold on, let me cook. Oh yeah, they're not doing anything in board F right now. LOL. Okay, so before I do that, then My sacred site, vital strength sacred sites are kind of in bad spots. Okay, so let's see. So where's the builds? Builds are here, here, here. They didn't actually explore G6 because we killed the town in G5. That's nice. And the town in G1 died as well, so that's nice. And they didn't explore over there. So there's only 3 builds. The Ravages, those are cleared, so it's just these 2. So my original thought was that I was going to let the Ravage in A1 happen, but let the Dahan counterattack without taking damage. It does seem like we can more easily kill it with these major powers, or this singular major power. I mean, we could even very simply just strife both buildings in A1. Adding 2 Badlands would be cool though, because I could deal 3 damage and kill the city that way. We also add a Badlands. Add 1 more within range 1 for each token. So we would add 1 in A2 and A4, I guess, and then 1 damage in an adjacent land kills one of them. I guess we could do it in A6 also, and then use that damage to kill a town or something. Or we strife A1 twice and strife A6 twice, and that just solves both Ravages. But number 1, that's boring, and number 2, I don't know. Also, let's not forget, I don't know why it's not displayed, but let's not forget that I do have, I guess because it's there, I have +2 damage with each damage dealing power I use. So when it says 1 damage, it is already 3 damage. So if I add 2 Badlands, that does actually do 5 damage and kills everything in there. I don't think the +2 damage will happen on the threshold, but the 2 Badlands could hit A6 and that kill the city, and then there's just a town in there, and I can probably deal with that town. Let's see. Badlands, Badlands. Damage. Badlands, Badlands. Wait. Wait. Oh, for each type of token I added, so I can only do Badlands once. If I do Badlands twice, I can only add Badlands because that's the only token I added. And yeah, the threshold did not get the benefit of the +2 damage, but if I were to do the Badlands Strife, okay, that does a mix of both, but benefits are me doing lots of things. So now these are actually solved. Okay, and then we still have these builds. I think simply Rituals of Destruction in A3 is enough. I mean, I don't even need the Han in there. Wash away is not gonna do enough. Tempted to do Favors Called Due in here. Let's do it. Only need 3 Dahan for the Fear and for Rituals, right? 3 Dahan? Yes. Okay. So that's not building anymore. Massive flooding will solve one of these two lands. Inflame, adding a disease means I can massive flooding their next turn. So I do massive flooding at A8. And the way I can do that, obviously I can just do River's Bounty to set up the sacred site. Actually, I can't because there's not enough to Han, but I can do Unrelenting Growth and set up a sacred site nearby. And then I can massive flooding. Now that's solved. So all the jungles are now solved. I mean, this one will be solved after some effort next turn, but very little. Wash away where? I can wash away to preserve the strife on that guy, I guess. Because he's currently ravaging a land that doesn't matter. Don't really need to wash away in G7 as I'll just massive flooding there next turn anyway. Could wash away to put the town in G7 and then there's more in there. I kind of like that. And then River's Bounty. Let's just gather this one. And then Presence Movement. Okay, so next turn is very good. My presence doesn't need to really be anywhere. I could just stick. Let's just stick. Okay. Okay, so Reclaim. You have a major. You're playing 5 cards, so you're kind of on Reclaim loop territory right now anyway. Call to Migrate helps getting to Han places where they need to be. Dire Metamorphosis adds 1 million tokens to a land. Bird's Cry Warning doesn't do that much. Here There Be Monsters exists. This wants plant. None of these have plant. I'll just take Call to Migrate. Probably will forget it. Let's take Major. Aha! I found a card that gives fire and earth. Or sorry, fire and air, but not moon. Ah! God damn it. No, this is moon and fire. Okay, okay. We found it. We found the moon fire card. And it has sun, and we can actually hit it. Yeah. I mean, also Vigor is here. Can't really hit the threshold on that one too well. Unleash a Torrent is nice. Vital Strength, Vital Strength, Vital Strength. You have all sacred sites. I guess it's a reclaim for you. Okay, so take that one. Let's just forget Nature's Connection for no reason. Play. I guess you want 2 fire cards. Except that it doesn't give you sun. Oh, I can't. I can actually hit the threshold on it this turn. Okay. I don't really need that this turn though. Sea monsters. Always be sea monstering. I I don't know. There's not really much going on this turn. I'm just gonna play the 0 energy cards because, well, they're useless though. Building conversions in case that matters. This one. This one, this one. This is free. And I don't have to actually play another card. I already hit all my thresholds, except for the plant one, which I don't have enough plants yet. Call to migrate, maybe. Could just not reclaim next turn and that'll be fine. Speaking of reclaiming. Energy. Range 2 presence. Let's go here. I don't know. I'm literally just like clicking things. Literally just clicking things. I don't have enough energy to hit threshold on that this turn. I do have energy to hit that threshold at least, if I really wanted. I don't know what it does, but it does something. I do have sea monsters going on, so I do want to add more beasts down. Dahan movement. Mountains Ravage. I'm not in a land there. Don't have Sacred Site need in the slow phase, or in the fast phase. But this Dahan movement is only in the growth, I think. I'm not in that land. I guess I just pass on that. Yeah, I'm not playing more. Presence movement. Gather and explore doesn't matter unless I can just kill it in a ravage, which does nothing. Okay. Boon of Vigor. Shadows, I guess. -1 damage and ravage for no reason there. That doesn't matter. Play Guardian Serpents. Sure. Repeat Guardian Serpents. You can probably tell where I'm gonna be sea monstering this turn. Literally doesn't matter where I gather that explorer. So I won't. In each land with at least 2 towns, replace half the towns with cities. Invaders do not ravage on lands with disease or strife. Push 2 Dahan from a land with city to a land without city. Okay. Kind of unfortunate if I can convert the strife to city. Okay. Strife in a land with presence, energy per sacred site and lands with invaders. Okay. They don't let ravage on lands with strife, but that's irrelevant. I guess I will just strife those guys. Jungle wetlands. Okay. Sea monsters. That was 8 fear. Uh-huh. Can't get a Badlands in there. We can't put a presence in there and convert the city. 10 fear away from winning. And then I need Sacred Site. So close to kind of winning. Not quite there though. Jungle Ravage is dealing with most of these builds, sort of, not really. Twilight Fog stops that one. That's a Ravage that needs solved. It's solved. Yay. Can even gather Dahan in there. Cool. And then I guess actually I don't want that Explorer in there. I see the issue. I see the issue. The issue is the Badlands will make the Explorer kill a Dahan and the other Dahan can't kill... Oh no, we'll actually kill both things. Never mind. But why kill a Dahan? It's meaningless. Unrelenting growth on shadows. And you can put things down here. Screw it, 5 card place. There you go. You're welcome. 5 fear away from no cities. Only city is A6. Okay. Well, I see an easy solution. At least for killing that city. We still need to generate more fear, but I'm confident we can do that. River, gain a power card. 2, 3, 4. Maybe reclaim major. I don't know. Cool. That exists. Okay. You gain power? Make it major? Uh-huh. Also basically does nothing. Uh-huh. Mina Mountains? Yes. This will win the game. If needed. Range 0 presence? Yes. Okay. Uh-huh. Presence. Contiguous presence. I mean... I could put more presence down, but, like, there's not actually much left to do. Air growth. It's just gain major time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ooh, this has elements on it. Sure. Sure, why not? How much energy do I have left? 3. Uh-huh. I have my maximum innate. Uh-huh. I'm just playing cards. Alright, there are ways of dealing with A6. Like that. Uh-huh. And then then we win. Yay! That only took like 60 minutes to resolve after I figured out I was winning. I just reached a point where I was clicking on cards, but there's like no fear. Okay. So 38 points, 10 for victory, 15 for difficulty 3, 8 for the 4 remaining invader cards, 8 for the 24 surviving Dahan, -3 for the 9 blight. Cool. Well, my first experience with Scotland, it was only Scotland 1, so obviously low difficulty, and that's kind of what dictated the latter half of this game. We weren't at risk of losing here at any moment, really. The escalation is rather interesting as, unlike every other adversary, it's a very local escalation. I guess like Sweden is also kind of local, as it only affects lands where Dahan get outnumbered when they explore into that land, but this one only affects a single board, so it makes one board especially bad. And that board just happened to be Shadows' board, but it's rather interesting. I kind of like it. Explore cards adding towns instead of explorers to coastal lands certainly makes the additional loss condition more easy to trigger. Coastal lands invader cards do this for maximum 2 lands per board. Kind of would like to see that happen. Would be nice if I didn't have a fear card that says that coastal lands are not affected by explore, followed by exploring coastal lands. But you know. And then what will happen next? During setup, add a city to land 2, place coastal lands as the 3rd stage 2 card, move the 2 stage 2 cards above it up by 1. 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, C, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Some more coastal cities. Well, I guess they need land 2. Yeah. Coastal lands, build cards affect lands without invaders so long as there is an adjacent city. During setup, replace the bottom stage 1 card with the bottom stage 2 card. After a Ravage action adds Blight to a coastal land, add a Blight to that board's ocean without cascading. Treat the ocean as coastal wetland for this rule and for Blight removal movement. That's funny. Ravage step, add a town to each inland land that matches a Ravage card and is within range 1 of a building. Okay. Interesting. I don't know how much of those would have been relevant this game. I think the coastal builds were always happening in this game, except for the times that we blocked it, but there wasn't adjacent city. I don't know, actually. Probably was relevant. Who knows? Mixing up the order of the invader deck is always fun. Extra city to land 2 just means there's more buildings. I don't know. I kind of like Sweden, but Scotland. Scotland so far is interesting. As far as these aspects go, I think it's kind of clear how I feel. River was the most fun. Shadows was the most there. Earth was the most lackluster. Maybe I just didn't play it right. Maybe I need to spam power card plays to find the cards that I want. I mean, the one that I didn't actually trigger was gain a power card, which I did say Earth has a harder time gaining power cards. If I managed to consistently gain a power card this way, it would fix one of the biggest issues I do have with Earth, which is that power card gains are very difficult. As you can only get it on the middle growth option. If for whatever reason you enter reclaim loop territory, you don't actually gain power cards. So, yeah. But obviously these do make these spirits play differently, which is the main reason these aspects exist. Alright, that is it for me this week on Dolphin's Dive. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Check out Handelabra Live Tuesday at 3 p.m. to see more Spirit Island content before it is publicly available. I should be around for next week. Actually, I'm currently scheduled to close next week. Maybe not. Might have to reschedule that stream to Friday. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But in any case, that is it for me this week. Thanks for watching and have a good night.
Peace.